Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Becker, out of Alexandria, Virginia. And on today's show, we have a powerhouse agent out of TTR Sotheby's, Mr. Brent Jackson. Welcome to the show, Brent.
Hey, Andrew, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Good, man. Good. Long time no see. It's good to connect again.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been, I don't know, maybe a year or so since I've seen you in person. We're both busy doing our thing.
Yes, that is very true. So, Brent, I always like to just kind of like jump right in here. Very short, just brief history of how you got into real estate. And then I'd love to learn about your team. I've been seeing some really awesome, amazing things coming out of your social and different, production milestones you've been hitting. But before we start into all that really good stuff, how did you get into real estate and kind of walk us through where you are today?
Okay. So I got into real estate probably 25 years ago, originally from West Virginia, Southern West Virginia, Princeton, West Virginia, not Princeton, New Jersey. Went to West Virginia University in Morgantown, business degree, stayed there for 4 years, met my wife. She went to law school. I stayed back afterwards, started acquiring properties in early 2000 in Morgantown, West Virginia. Hot college town. You could throw a dot on a board at that time. The market was hot across the country, anywhere. So I started to acquire properties. I was doing financial planning. She graduated law school in 2003. We moved to New York City. We sold everything that we had in West Virginia, but I still liked real estate.
Okay.
So we were in New York for 1 year while she got her LLM. And doing so, I passed the Virginia real estate exam. We moved to DC in 2004 and took the exam, passed it, met with Jonathan and Michael, got on with TTR Sotheby's International Realty. Again, my passion with real estate started very early, right in college. That was more on the investing side.
Mm-hmm.
DC is very expensive. I didn't know anybody within a 300-mile radius. So I'm like, let me go ahead and try to get into the real estate residential side and see if I can't help some people find investment properties like I was doing back in West Virginia.
Okay. Very cool. So you moved to New York City, got into the real estate market in DC in the very early 2000s. A lot of the things I like to understand about like why you got into it, was there a specific reason or just because of like how you liked doing real estate transactions when you're in West Virginia? Like what made you want to get into real estate?
So I enjoyed doing the real estate transactions in West Virginia. I like doing the due diligence on finding a good deal. We had 4 townhouses. We had 1 mobile home that we owned as well. So we had 5 investment properties across the board in Morgantown.
Okay.
So again, just doing the due diligence, digging into the details on what makes it a good deal, what's the revenue, what's the rent that we're going to get for each one of these, what's the projection on when we can sell it, for how much. I enjoyed doing that. And then thinking also when we got into Washington, D.C., wanting to do that for investors as well, maybe even myself. So
Right.
really wanted to do it for myself. But as we've evolved over time, we've got a lot of investors in our portfolio. We've got a lot of developers, just end user buyers. So I've been less doing it for myself and then all about clients right now.
Okay. Let's talk about that because that's super interesting. It's very niche, right? You have developers. Walk us through like what that could potentially look like. Obviously, it starts with you building that relationship, but then what do you do for them? How do you do it? Where does that lead? Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yes, I'm going to back up a little bit because a lot of people, I've been on platforms before for like niche discussions. And I think when a new agent gets their license, I can sell anywhere in DC. If they get Maryland or Virginia, I can sell anywhere inside the Beltway. Truly be good at what you do. You need to be a niche specialist, right? Yes, you can sell in DC, Virginia, Maryland, but you need to be able to go in between the lines and have a specialty. Same like
Right.
with law, same with accounting, same with doctors, right? You can be very successful across the board, but the more special you are, the better you're going to do in the industry. So for us, we started off, and we've grown and evolved over time too. So when we first started, and I'll get into the team in a little bit, but Rob and myself, we were doing $300,000 to $500,000 studio 1 bedrooms in downtown DC.
Yeah.
We were doing that as soon as I started with Rob, which was in 2007. And 2007, 2008, I decided to get my associate broker license. So I went to the GRI up in Silver Spring, Maryland. It was, I think, full days for 6 or 8 months. And in doing so, I met one of the developers at Monty Hoffman, PN Hoffman at the time, Michelle Giannini, shout out to her, great person. So I'd be sitting with her every day, during these classes. We'd go to lunch together. And as soon as we finished the class, she gave us one of the like few remaining units at Hoffman. So they
Sure.
gave us 2 units at the Alta. They gave us 2 units at Chase Point. They gave us the last remaining units over at Union Row, and then they gave us a small building in Calorama Place. So it all kind of started from there.
Yeah.
And then we met with other developers because they're like, "Oh, you guys are doing great work. You're working for a major player here in DC," and it just grew from there. So now when people ask me like, "What's your specialty?" I always say our specialty is Cleveland Park to Capitol Hill, all points in between. That's new to newer construction. We get called from developers, other agents from our firm, outside the firm, asking us for pricing help.
Yeah. I want to do a little yeah, I want to do a little bit of bragging for you because I saw this stat that you posted or Rob posted, but 50% of the homes that sold, I think it was this year, above $2 or $3 million, you were the listing agents behind.
Yes.
Wow.
So we kind of stumbled across that. We're actually getting ready to hire somebody to just do our like be our statistician, so to speak. He'll be crunching numbers across the board. But I was doing a flyer, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like just doing some digging in the MLS. This is 20003, 20002. How can I tell a story on paper to send out to people on trying to get more business to drive phone
Right.
calls, emails, text messages? And in doing so, I found that yes, we sold 50% of the homes at or above $3 million in Capitol Hill,
Do
which
you have
is
any idea that you were even close to that? Like that's a fascinating number. There is a lot of business in Capitol Hill. It's not a small area. Well, I guess it's a small area compared to some, but a lot of homes, a lot of transactions. Like what did you feel like when you realized that and had your like, oh my gosh moment?
well, I think that Rob and I we have the blue collar mentality, so we put our head down and go, and that's the reason we have a very good support team. We have 5 admin across the board, but we're just going like we put our head down and just go. Our job is to be in front of clients on a regular basis, every day, all day, 365 days a year. So in doing so, sometimes you don't take a step back and look at some of the accomplishments that you've achieved over time, and
Right.
uh, when you sit down and do the look at it, it's like, wow, that's a big number. And
Yeah.
Capitol Hill, to be, I guess, transparent here, it's not Georgetown, right? So you're not going to get a ton of $3 million plus sales in Capitol Hill or like Wesley Heights or some of these upper Northwest neighborhoods. But that's kind of our little bubble that we live in, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing, man. I mean, congrats. I was
Thank you.
excited for you. I know we've been colleagues for quite some time now, so I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
But we have to continue, right? So it's like that's in the rearview mirror. What's in
Yeah,
the front windshield that we're looking out ahead? So we got to make sure that we continue that trend.
yeah. Not a bad marketing message to say, though. I'm sure you've taken
Yeah,
advantage of that.
we've been Instagram, Facebook, all the social media posting. We were sending out a flyer this week on that,
Very cool.
and it's and the market's a little funky right now too. It's like, do you want a $3 million listing in Capitol Hill, and everything is the world's up in arms?
Right. Yeah. I guess the answer is maybe, but probably yes. I
Right,
would take a
exactly.
$3 million listing in Capitol Hill if you gave me one.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, man. Let's talk about you mentioned your team, and I heard you just say you have 5 support staff. I know you have agents. Can you give us like a 80,000 foot high level picture of? I know you have, your team. You and Rob are kind of the team leaders, but walk us through what that structure looks like.
So yes, Rob and I are the team leads. Rob and I joined forces in 2007. At the first, it was just Rob and myself, and over time we grew. We had one assistant, we brought on one buyer agent, and we just grew from there. Today, it's Rob and myself. We have 6 agents total, counting Rob and myself, and then we have 5 admin. We have an operations manager. We have kind of a statistician we're bringing on next week. We have a marketing director. We have an executive assistant that does stuff just for Rob and myself. And then we also have a contract to close person.
Okay. And let's talk about like each group or pairing there, your agents on your team. What's your model? I know there's like a million different models that a team leader or owner can run, but how do you attract? Because agent attraction, I think, for teams is super important right now. Solo agents are kind of migrating to the team model, in my opinion. I'm seeing that a lot. How are you attracting and recruiting and retaining agents? And what's it look like to be an agent on your team?
So, one, we're not really hiring new agents. We're like a small family, right? So, there'll be 11 of us starting next week with our new hire. But we do have a lot of agents reach out wanting to join our team. We have our brand. We've been doing this for, 20 plus years. Rob's been doing it since 2000. I've been doing it since 2004, together since 2007. So, we have a brand out there that people know, especially, like I said, Cleveland Park to Capitol Hill. Our office is in Logan Circle. So we get a lot of people wanting to join. We turn down most people, but the attraction is name recognition. We're doing $150 million a year in volume, and then the support, right? I think that's where a lot of single agents need help. They need, whether it's an agent or a support person. So on our team, you're getting a team of agents. You're going to have 6 agents that are working around the clock, and you know Rob's hobby is real estate, right? So he doesn't do anything outside of real estate. So like he's always open to helping somebody out at an open house, brokers open, they're going out of town, helping them out on showings or whatnot. And then you have a team that's working with you as well as far as the admin support. So marketing, contract to close, all that stuff is included as well.
So for example, an agent on your team has a listing and goes under contract. They're literally turning over the contract and all the deadlines, the dates, the money, the EMDs, everything about that is getting taken care of on their behalf. They still obviously want to stay up to date and quarterback the transaction, but they just hand it over and they have a complete support staff to get it to the closing table.
Correct. So on the front end and back end. So you mentioned the back end. So something gets ratified, you pass the baton, and that person runs from A to Z, from ratification to the closing table, make sure everything is done. On the front end, you get a listing presentation, you get a listing agreement signed. Same thing. Here's the to-do list, honey-do list. Pass it off to the team with the listing agreement, and then everything's done. Handyman items, landscaping, staging, painting, all that stuff. Our operations manager can run. Once that's done, it goes to the director of marketing, who brochures, flyers, ordering the sign, doing the video shoots and all that, and then
Mhm.
also putting it in the MLS. And then we come in as doctors, right? So I mean, the original thought process is we're the doctors, right? So you come in, you see the front desk person, they check you in, you see the nurse, PA comes in, gives you some stuff. Then the doctor comes in for like 5 minutes of your 1 hour visit.
Yeah.
And then he'll say, all right, this is good. So you can check the MLS, make sure everything is fine. And then the PA will come back in and give you your medicine shots or whatever. And then you go to the accountant at the end and pay your bill. So we've kind of got it set up like that so you can be in front of as many clients as possible. Because at the end of the day, like we're getting paid to be in front of people, not be in front of vendors.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important too, having the ability for you, Rob, and everybody else on your team to mention, hey, this is how we run like a doctor's office, because I think that gives a level of like they have their business well thought out and curated. It's not just like shoot from the hip, flying blind, like you're not really sure what's going to happen because you have a process, right? You have systems,
Exactly.
you do the same thing over and over again. Like you're
Right.
used to, your team is used to another contract. They're not like, hey, Brent, what should I do with this one? You
Yeah,
tell them.
everybody knows what to do.
Yeah, yeah, and I think especially in today's world where inventory is kind of it has
It's
its
up
ups
there.
and downs, but when it has its downs, that's how you really stand out to someone else. Where if I'm a solo agent and I'm like it's just me, but I have all this other stuff going on, and then you come in and you're like, here's how we do things. You're going to get introduced to this person, this person, this person. We're going to get you the most money in the shortest amount of time. That's just like a feeling of security for the. I guess I'm describing a listing right now. But if
No,
it's
absolutely. You're spot on with it. And you've been doing this for a while too. So I mean, you know how it goes. You guys have a very successful team. So uh, it's rewarding to work on a team. And I admire the people that want to be solo. Couldn't do so. Again, like you mentioned earlier, the market has its up and downs. It's a roller coaster. It doesn't matter if you're at the top of your game or the bottom. And being able to bounce ideas off of, like we have a group text, and yesterday we were going back and forth because someone had a bad experience with one of our top contractors. They were doing a quick half bath renovation, and the contractor took advantage of our client for $47,000. But again, being able to go back and forth with the agents on our team, sometimes you're not going to get that as a solo agent. Like, hey, I just had this horrendous experience with this
right.
vendor or this client or whatever. But being able to share the goods and bads of the industry, it's tough out there.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned you do 150 million plus in volume. That's a lot. Given your price points and the amount of people on your team, how are you and Rob keeping everything kind of like organized and like at the end of the day, you're the team owners, it's your names, right? As the team name and your brand. So you have to maintain that quality level, the quality insurance. How are you? And you sell a lot of homes too yourself, correct? How
Yes.
are you selling homes? How are you running this team? How are you doing all this volume while getting new business? Like, how do you
Yeah.
do all this?
And it's a juggling act. I'm not going to lie. The other component to this is a family man. I have a 12-year-old that's very competitive in tennis. So, 4 to 7, I'm up in College Park at JTCC for tennis. And on the weekends, we're up and down the East Coast for tennis tournaments. So there's that hat. There's the team lead hat. There's, my own book of business client hat. It's challenging. You know, Google Sheets. So across the board, we have Google Sheets. Is it the most effective? I know you guys have a great platform, billions that you guys are using, and we might need to jump onto something like that down the road. But for us, I've always been told, and I'm a firm believer of this: the best system that a person has is the one that they use. So all of our clients, all of our data for the team is in Google Sheets in some
Okay.
form or fashion.
Right.
As far as like my own CRM, I've been using Apple Reminders for the better part of 15 years. So as soon as a client calls, brand new client or not, I'll pull over to the road, pull up the reminders, see what it says, and then if there's a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly touch point, then I just fill in the notes from there, and then it will ping me when I'm supposed to reach out to him again.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't mean to knock this at all, but I feel like you're the only person I've ever heard that references Apple reminders as your the
It's,
way you keep so many deals that you do organized. That's really impressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's the right way, and I'm sure that
Yeah,
it's not the most efficient way, but it works for me, and it does. I can pay for billions is the best one out there, but like if I'm not going to use it, then it's not going to work for me, or all these other platforms that are out there. But for me, I've been using Apple Reminders, and it's hard for me. When I first started in the industry, uh, an agent got me on top producer, and I did that for the better part of 2 years, and then I stopped doing it. And then again, it's only worth its weight in gold if you're actually using it.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's impressive, man. Like running your operation out of your phone like that on Apple reminders. I'm like, I need to learn a lot more about that. But I've
Yeah.
actually been doing. I'll say, "Hey Siri, set an alarm for 4 p.m. to hop on with Brent or whatever it is," and that works really, really well because as you're an agent, as a business owner, as a father, family person, it gets like crazy. And my new system, I'm getting older now, I forget everything. So if I don't say, "Hey Siri, set an alarm," I feel like I forget about it. So just like you do reminders, I do that myself, and I'm constantly, open up my alarm thing. It's like 50 pages long of like things that I need to do, but it
Yeah, so
works.
you're doing it's a different format. Like the
Yeah,
Apple reminders will pop up. I'm looking now at my Apple reminders. I have 27 people to call today or touch, right?
yeah,
Text, email, call, whatever. But it's 27 that I have to do today. Tomorrow will be something different. Might be more, might be less. But
yeah,
yeah, I try to live in the moment. And then usually the night before, I'm looking at what I have to do tomorrow to see how urgent it is if I need to
right.
get to it tonight. The other thing that they've started with is you can push out emails. You can set your emails, right? So if I need to reach out to Andrew tomorrow morning, can I send an email tonight saying, "Hey, Andrew, just checking in, making sure everything's all right with the listing or the closing coming up." You can send it out tonight, and then it's going
Yeah,
to land in their inbox tomorrow morning.
yeah, not
The
bad.
only trick with that is I had an issue earlier this week where we had a deal go south, and so the deal went south on, I think it might have been Tuesday around 3. That we got an attorney law involved, and they sent a note to the listing agent saying, we're going to sue, list pendants, all this stuff. But I set up the night before sending it to the listing agent. Hey, just checking in, make sure everything's all right.
Nice.
So we get the thing from the attorney, and then like 2 hours later, hey, just checking in, and the agent calls and is like, "What did you mean by your last email saying is
Let's
everything all
grab
right?" I got
coffee.
an email 2 hours early from the attorney saying it's not all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oops. I
Yeah,
guess that
oops.
can happen too. But the fact that you're laughing about it in the same week that it's probably still
Yeah,
happening
I mean,
is a good
we're
sign.
still dealing with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you have a good sense of humor about it, so that's good.
Yeah, well, I might not be if we get dragged into court. So I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's ongoing. But again, that's part of the ups and downs of this market, right? It's like it doesn't matter if you're a good market or a bad market. There's always going to be ups and downs. Some deals are going to be great, some deals are going to be bad. It's how you perform in the down markets, how you perform with the tough deals. Everybody can be successful. I mean, look at these TV shows, right? Bravo or whatever, HGTV. Everybody's selling $1 million homes and driving fancy cars and going on luxury trips.
Yeah. A lot of perception there, I would argue.
Exactly.
That's a different episode that we can shoot
Right.
about if you really like dove into them. I think we'd be shocked a little bit. But let's go into your deal flow because you do a lot of volume. How are you getting lead? I know you mentioned like a few things you're doing marketing wise, but you're constantly. I mean, we follow each other on social media. I'm always seeing just listed, new to Capitol Hill, all these like high price points. We talked about how you kind of got there, but how are you maintaining that level of volume and transactions in the neighborhoods you want to be in?
I'm a big believer in keeping up with the source of where a deal comes from, whether it's my own or the team. And when I do payroll for each of the individual agents, the first question I ask is, where did this deal come from? Because it's not for me, but it's more for them.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at our data right now, the current year, 45% of our deals are coming from clients. 17% is coming from referrals, 5% online, 10% flyers, 16% are coming from other agents outside the DMV.
Hmm.
So again, if you look at this data, and then from there you can build a marketing plan out. So at the end of each year, we look at, okay, where did our deal flow come from for the calendar year?
Right.
And then we can reallocate some of our marketing budget. I don't know off the top of my head, maybe $100,000. How are we going to spend our $100,000 for this next year? Are we going to do like more client parties, more client gifting? Are we going to do more flyers? And every year, since I've been doing this, the two strongholds have always been clients and referrals. But it's
Yeah.
like a three-legged stool. If one of the legs falls out, the stool's
Yeah.
going to tip over. So this year it's clients, referrals, and agents. For like the last 10 years, it's been clients, referrals, and flyers. So we do a lot of flyers, a lot of mailers to neighborhoods that we are top in, a lot of buildings, blocks. So we're very targeted on our mailings along with our messaging that goes into those mailers. But this year we're only at 10%. So
Yeah.
we'll look at that in 2026 and maybe reallocate some of our marketing dollars.
Okay. And that's just like, I mean, payroll, it has to go out. It has to go out no matter how
Yep.
tough it can be. Marketing does too. And we talked about like the ups and downs, highs and lows in real estate, but it's a transactional business at the end. I know there's long-term investing and stuff like that, but what we're talking about is purely transactional. So the next listing, the next buyer that you help, and without marketing, a consistent marketing effort, that can slowly start to go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times agents, again, it's the roller coaster. I sound like a broken record, but it's like they get a listing, they do it just listed, under contract, just sold. They won't do it again. If
Yeah.
it's a market that you're living in, it needs to be consistent, whether you're doing it twice a month, once a month at the least, if it's a market that you're living in.
Right.
And then it's going to take time. It's like, well, I didn't get a phone call off that flyer, so I'm not going to do it anymore. It's like, no, you need to keep doing it. I mean, we go in this, our markets that we're mailing in on a regular basis. Sometimes Rob and I go into the listing presentation, and they're like, they'll pull out a stack and they have like, I've been getting stuff from you guys for 10 years.
Yeah.
So like everybody's not going to sell every single year. It's like,
Right.
depending on, you can break down the numbers and like, all right, so how many transactions are taking place in this building, this block, this neighborhood? And you kind of go with it that way, right? So if there's only like 10 transactions in a year in this particular building, well, you're not going to get all 10 of them, right?
Right.
Maybe you get five, but you got to keep letting them know what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Top of mind, man. I remember when I first started out and I just went in with, I don't know if it was like an ego or whatnot, but I'm like, oh, Brent's my friend. He knows that I'm an agent. And then you're like posting, hey, I just bought a house with like someone from my office. I'm like, what the heck? And top of mind. It
Right.
literally is that simple sometimes, just like consistent top of mind. And then you reach out and you're like, dude, what happened? They're like, oh, I didn't know you did this area or you wanted to work with me. I'm like, man, I shouldn't have assumed because that can get you into a lot of trouble. Maybe that's happened to you before. It's happened to me more often than I like to admit, but it's just consistency. And that's what a lot of people struggle with, I think, sometimes, like you just mentioned, like doing one thing once and then saying, oh, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
When you've got to have a short-term memory loss in this industry. Like again, my son plays tennis. I tell him like, you're only as good as your last point. You got to forget that you just lost that point. Go on to the next one. Again, it's about the long haul in a match. Same with us, right? Like we do, we lose a lot of it. As much as we get, we're losing probably the same amount of business. And it's like
Yeah.
I can't take it personal. They had a relationship. They knew somebody. Maybe it wasn't in our farming area, whatnot. So, and maybe the next deal they will give to us, right? So it happens all the time. It's
Yeah.
just it is what it is.
Yeah, you got to roll with it though. And you have to have that line, like that mentality. There's a difference between someone like with what you just said and someone who sits and sulks and like questions why they do things, but
You
it's a
have to go on to
bit.
the next deal. That's the thing. There's enough business out there for all of us agents, but you can't get bent out of shape because your buddy just listed with somebody else or whatnot. It's like, all right, well, you'll get the next one, right? I mean, in DC, the average time in property is about 6 years. So, all right, 6 years they're going to call you. Just remember to stay in touch with them.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the big part. Hey, I know we're coming up on time because you have to jump to an appointment, but I wanted to just pick your brain. Maybe you've thought about this, maybe you haven't, but like, are you all jumping on this like AI bandwagon, shiny object? Do you use it? Do you want to use it? Like, what are your thoughts about all these new AI tools coming out for real estate agents and teams?
It's fascinating. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next, you know, couple years. We are using it, especially like for all of our brochures.
Okay.
It's a little cheesy. You put it in like I actually just put on a listing a little bit ago, and the seller had its comments. Like I want all this incorporated. We had our comments, so I put their comments, our comments into ChatGPT, and it spit out like a beautiful piece. What I thought,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can tell if you see something with ChatGPT written. We had someone from the New York Times reached out to us last week and wanted a comment on something, and she was very direct. She said, if you put this question in ChatGPT, we are going to know it, and so are the consumers. So do not ChatGPT this question. Like, come
Yeah.
up with your own answers and response.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think her question was similar. It's like, how do you see AI evolving into the real estate marketplace?
Yeah. You should for just fun, you should throw her email into one of those like, was this an AI written email or not, and see if she used
Yeah, yeah,
AI
exactly.
to write you about not using AI. But yeah, I mean, we use it all the time for like blank page syndrome, and it kind of got like used to, oh, I need to come up with X, Y, and Z, and I'll just prompt it. But then obviously like tweak it, make it your own, because it's starting to you can start to see like roll through your feed. It's like, this is probably AI. This is probably AI. AI.
Right.
Now there's like the Brent AI model. That have you seen that? Like you
No.
film yourself and then Brent the AI bot shoots videos for you, but it looks real. And it's like now it's in like scenarios in front of like an audience or like at an event or something. It's getting so nuts. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. But even team meetings, we had our team meeting, our quarterly team meeting last week. So I was able to throw in our last team agenda. And, we go, it's bullet pointed. It's, time allocations on each topic that we're going through. And I'm able to have it tweak a little bit. Then, like I said, I go in as a doctor. And this is what ChatGPT gave me. I can go in and like tweak it where I
Yeah.
need to. Where I've also found it very interesting is if you're out with a buyer, you can take a photo of a room and then you can redesign it
Yeah.
based on like whatever photos you have. And we are still doing some investing. I'm building a house out in the country, and I went back and forth on like kitchen options or fireplace, what stone. We're end up doing a shiplap, but being able to take a photo of the empty room
That's
and then say
cool.
what type of stone should I put in, what type of counters. But I mean, that's more like interior designer. But you have to think in this world, like what's consulting interior designers, like what's it going to look like in 2 3 years down the road?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, in my opinion, and how we use it for like the businesses that we run, internal, I think it's fine and safe. Like low hanging fruit, help me summarize a phone call that was recorded, or help me put together, processes for the team to kind of follow. I think where it's starting to become way too apparent that it's AI is the public facing outward external stuff where it's like, man, this is the same old, like three secrets here, this list, that list. I don't know. For me, I'm like, you got to have your own unique individual content, but you can save so much time using AI internally. I think that's where, the bulk of an optimized efficiency gain comes from. But it's getting, I don't know. I think eventually the Congress should probably, but who knows if they will or not. They're going to step in with like these. Have you heard about like AI bots that will call and set appointments for you now? And it's like, man, when did real estate become so like impersonal? Like I would never talk to a lawyer that's an AI lawyer robot about like a serious scenario I was in. Like what, why do agents and teams?
I mean, it's getting scary. So we went to this. If you've been to the Sphere out in Vegas, they have, I think they're Tesla robots, like how's the world going to look in 10 years? And it's, very futuristic. You go back to the Will Smith movie I, Robot, for anybody
Yeah.
that's seen that. It's like, then one of them gets crazy and takes over the world. I don't know. It's scary.
It's getting close to that. I have a buddy who I went to high school with. He just got like a $1 billion grant from like Google and Oracle, and he's building robots like that to help in the
Yeah.
house and like in businesses. So who knows? It's Wild West out there.
Like right now we have I don't know, two or three of those. It's totally different, but the robots that are doing the vacuuming in our house, somebody in our neighborhood has the robot that's doing the landscaping. So you just want, again, that's a whole other industry, right? Landscaping, like
Yeah,
you're paying $1,000, $2,000 a month for your landscaping. If
yeah,
someone's able to do that and pay $1,200 for this machine,
yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy world, man. But I guess we shall see. Hopefully, it just doesn't get too out of control. But Brent, awesome time. Learned so much from you. It's great seeing you again, man.
Andrew,
Um,
thank you for your time.
Yeah, yeah. If anyone is trying to buy, sell, talk to anyone about DC real estate or just, the DMV in general, and they want to reach out and connect with you and your team, how would one go about doing so?
Phone number is the best, so they can reach out via call or text. My phone number is 202-263-9200. I prefer a phone call or a text over email. It seems like our email, I don't know if it's AI generated or what, but a lot of our emails are going into spam. So
Yeah,
if God forbid I turn my head for like an hour, I'll come back to, 100 emails, and I'm not sure there's
right.
100 in a spam box as well. So
Yep, yep.
call
Well,
or text is better.
yeah, I will. I'll share all your contact information so someone listening can easily get in touch with you in the description of this episode. But thanks so much again, man. Great to see you,
Awesome.
and best of luck at this end of year,
You too.
end of 2025 and into
Awesome.
26, man.
Thanks, Andrew. Have a
All right,
good day.
later.
Bye.